1, 2, 3. Tag me in podcast.
Tag Me In Podcast, back again with another episode.
Another episode.
You are joined by myself, Ola.
Hi, I'm Anton.
Hey. And today, our topic is property paralysis.
Way. What holds you back from getting that property?
That's like one of the biggest questions, I think, of our sort of millennial generation.
Do you reckon?
I think, yeah, no, I understand.
I'm more like, yo, how do I get the money? I think that's the...
Need that P to get that house.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm generation rent. It is what it is. That's just me at the moment. Trying to sort of save to get a house. Again, I think it's like a big point for a lot of people. It's like one of those kind of landmark points in your life.
Mama, I
Kinda
made
like,
it. I've bought a house.
Just get on a property ladder and just like...
I've tied myself down to a mortgage for the next 30 years. I've made it in life. Mwah.
I'm in debt. Why do you think people are so obsessed with this? Need to get a house, need to get a mortgage. Because one thing is that probably the UK is probably one of the only countries where we're this obsessed with like owning property in Europe. So
It's like a sense of ownership, isn't it? It's my place, but it creates that atmosphere of it's your own. Like it's mine.
Yeah.
It's a sense of foundations. If I lose my job, I've still got my house.
Yeah.
I still look after my family. Wow, a parrot just dropped in the sky.
You're gonna get a house, man. Just wait your turn.
And also it's a whole kind of like materialistic sort of thing. So when you think about adult life and the stuff that you're gonna have, you think about the family, you think about the household, think about the nice car, and you think about like the holidays you go on.
Yeah.
And the house is a big part.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's part of the reason why most people work so hard is because they're saving up for their house to literally go home, have that safe, protective area. You know, they got their nice little kitchen, sofa area, the living room's all laid out, bedroom.
Furnished.
But the sad thing is, like, you're only there for a short amount of time.
That's kind of sort of, so with me, I'm just like, I see how hard people work to get it, but I'm just like, a mortgage, and I don't care what anyone says, it's just a fancy word for a loan. It is. It's a really big loan.
It's a large
You can
loan.
get a loan for a car, watch, a laptop, whatever. A mortgage is just a nice word for a loan that's going to take you most of your life to pay off.
Obviously, it means more than that because obviously it's like the whole agreement between you, the buyer, and then also the lender.
Yeah.
So it's the system. But yeah, in essence, it's just a loan. It's like, here you go, here's a big fat loan.
And people are dying. I'm just like, you know what you're kind of getting yourself into. I mean, from the point of security, I'm 100% down. I get that. It's that sense of security. You've got a home. It's yours. There's not that worry of a landlord coming and saying, get out.
Yeah,
because you're the landlord.
Yeah.
And obviously, assuming you kind of keep up with payments, you're in a good position.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't understand that. Until you've actually paid it off, it's not yours.
It's not yours.
It belongs to the bank. It is the bank's property, bottom line. Yes, your duvet. Yeah, like you're washing up liquid. But if the bank comes knocking, you're not in a good... It's the reality.
Sorry, sir. We're going to repossess this home. Ouch. That's the worst case scenario.
Oh,
That
no.
is the worst case scenario. But I feel, especially for myself, having a property, having a number of properties is something that I can leave to like my family. So it's that whole generational wealth. And that's what I see, especially when I turn a property from a liability. So, you know, the whole mortgage thing. I see if you own a property and you got a mortgage, it's a liability because it's taking money out of your pocket. Famous from Rich Dad Poor Dad, it becomes an asset once that property puts money back into your pocket.
So when you have kind of tenants there, or you kind of stock it on Airbnb, or you've paid it outright and then you're just sort of renting it out.
It's your asset. So from that point of view, when I have my kids and, you know, I leave my legacy and they're like, oh, Dad left us a house each and then we've got the family home.
Ooh, I like that.
Because like, I always talk about the racial wealth gap
Yeah.
that we have, and it's my kind of goal in life is kind of how can I reduce that for myself, my family, and then the next generation from that. So just work hard, play hard sort of thing, but invest your money smartly. So on the aspect of you know, you're living in that renting generation. When do you see yourself actually getting a property? And I guess why?
So
are you saving up for it? Is it for that?
For me, the main kind of thing is that, not really, for me it's just more so the sense of security. So it's this is kind of taking it back years. One of my close friends, Daniel, His parents were kind of going through it. So it was just him, his siblings, and his mum. And then, no word of a lie, and he told me this probably like a few years after, because obviously it was quite painful at the time. They literally got kicked out Christmas Day.
Christmas Day?
Landlord came and was like, get out.
Merry Christmas.
Literally, like, imagine kind of waking up, unwrapping your Christmas presents.
I'll say that person, the landlord, wasn't like, celebrating Christmas themselves. I feel like they were bitter. Like
it must have been.
It must have been. Someone know
that
how miserable I am.
Yeah, I didn't get a Christmas present. I got socks. You're getting it. Wow. So for me, it was like, ooh, imagine someone coming up to me, kicking me and my little family out on Christmas Day. Not even on Christmas Day, on any other day.
Yeah.
It's that kind of, you never know what's going on. You never know what that person's going through. That person might have a drug problem. They're spending the money we're paying as rent, which they're using for the mortgage on whatever. Now they're in a bit of trouble, so you have to get out.
Yeah.
So for me, it was mainly the sort of sense of security. I'm not really into that obsessed with, this is my land, because I know that I'm not going to be here forever. And I think you mentioned a great point about kind of passing it off as an asset to sort of offspring and family. I think it's important to kind of keep it sort of within the family, kind of share that wealth, bring your children up, leave something sort of when you leave, a legacy, as you said. But for me, it's more so the sense of security. In terms of actually getting it, I've been listening to a lot of people who have actually got themselves on the ladder, and they kind of talk about how the process, some of them say the process has been quite smooth, but a lot of them have sort of said that they've had issues with solicitors.
Yeah.
Not issues, it's more so like delays.
Updates and the timing of it.
It's,
the processing of the whole
like
agreements.
End to end, roughly it's about, well, the process should be standard about from 12 to 16 weeks.
Yeah.
But I know at least 15 people at work who've kind of gone through it, and it's taken them the most part of a year. And the one sort of common thread that they've also said is, the solicitors were behind, or they went on holiday, or they're just...
It's usually if someone's
long
looking, so that the seller's actually needing to buy a place as well. I forgot the term they use.
Yeah, chain. So if they're in a chain...
no chain and chains. Yeah, so if you're in a chain, then you
that's
can be waiting
that's
for a potentially
understandable.
long time, just dangling by a piece of string, just waiting for it to just literally drop. Like, please, have I got the keys? And you get a phone call. Yes, it's finally done.
And it's just that, it's just, I mean, are you sort of planning on, well, obviously, I assume you're planning on getting that.
I'm going to go back, because you said security. So, getting a mortgage, does that provide you with that form of security? Or is the security going to come after that 25-year, 20-year, 30-year mortgage rate?
You know what, weirdly enough, I think it's actually more so the house, and it's more a mental thing. Because like I said, the mortgage in and of itself is a loan, it's debt. So that aspect, I'm just like, do I really want to take on £250,000 of...
Hey, you got to relate it to London prices, because the average price in
London
is like 600k.
Yeah, £450,000 is a lot of money to borrow and kind of pay over a 25, 30
But then you're saying at the same time that you're going to have 10% deposit, which is 60 bags.
Which is a lot of money.
Hey!
60 grand just locked away in the house.
And then you're going to have your kind of mortgage repayment of £2 grand.
Repayment, bills, council tax, and I think a lot of people forget that aspect as well.
But also the legal fees. The legal fees, the stamp duty, there's a lot to it.
It all adds up.
So I take it you're looking at Bristol as a place to start.
So currently sort of looking at Bristol and outside London in general, because like you said, I've kind of done the whole kind of searching thing, and it's like £200,000 will get you a little sort of shed or tree house in London.
Shared ownership, where part ownership
of a shed,
where you buy 25% and then you still paying rent on top of that for the 75%.
It's crazy,
absolutely mad.
But that same amount of money will get you a 2-3 bedroom house in Bristol, or if you go for...
I thought you were going to say America. Have you seen like what you can get in America for like 200k, 300k? Like nice little, I don't know what they call them in America, but nice little pads. Like they're 3 bedrooms. Wham! Wham inside.
I've seen those houses.
This is my living room.
This is my house. This is big, isn't it? MTV Cribs. And so £250, what that will get you in London, a 1 bedroom, can get you 3, 4, 5 bedroom in places like Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham. Obviously, the further out you go, the better value for money you get. So for me, there's been this little battle of, do I stay in London, where capital is?
Should I go back to London?
Should I go back to London? Family's there, money's there in terms of capital and kind of career and work. But then quality of life is sort of diminished in a sense. Or kind of stay sort of here in Bristol or move out where salaries aren't as high, but you know your money goes a lot further. So there's quality of life.
Yeah,
So there's always been that kind of battle, or that decision for me of just what's the next step.
Because I guess you got to factor in that, especially if you're living in London, the cost of living is ridiculous. Transport, even rent. Like most people say, 2/3 of their rent or 2/3 of their salary goes to rent. So how do you save in between that?
It's just almost impossible. I mean, it's just.
This grind and hustle, but I always like the idea of probably like coming together with a bunch of friends and putting money into like a nice little pot.
Yeah.
And maybe buying a property, maybe in London, but maybe as a real investment.
Yeah.
So we change it from a liability into an asset, and we buy a place out in like, I don't know, Manchester or Birmingham.
Yeah, and you sort of rent it out.
But that's like a 10-year commitment, maybe longer. But then you also got the whole agreement among each friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been reading quite a few articles on that, and I think what's been happening in a few situations is, aside from kind of renting it out, they'll kind of friends will kind of get a place, all move in together, get a deposit, and then one of them's like, me and my girlfriend want to kind of go and get our own house, which they're in their own right to say, but then it kind of like messes up what they've kind of built there.
Yeah.
So I think it's important in that sort of situation to just have things in writing, in place. Like
legally. Someone was telling me about some legal contract that you can have now, but I can't remember the name of it. I'm gonna have to research it and put it on the blog right up.
Yeah, there's two different ones. I've gotten the names, but there's one where, say, two friends kind of get a house. One, God forbid, something happens, then their sort of side of their 50% will go to the other person. Then there's the other one where it's, say, one person leaves or dies or whatever, then their assets are left to their next of kin, as opposed to that person getting it.
Yeah.
So it's just about weighing up which options kind of work best for the people involved, and it's kind of going off there. It's just a lot to think about. It's just.
So you think, how long do you give yourself?
You know, I've been quite generous. I've sort of said about 4 or 5 years.
I swear.
Yeah. The reason is, I'm also at a point where I'm like, do I want to just kind of get it by myself? I think I like the idea of kind of having a partner involved.
You're waiting for the wifey to come along.
In a sense,
she's like, hey, I've got deposit money too, and your eye just light up.
Then it's like
some emoji hearts.
Because that to me, that's like a real, just taking it away from the relationship, it's more like a partnership. It's us going into it 50-50 together. And also looking at it from like a legal standpoint of, if you want to take half, you're taking what you put in anyway. So go and take, like, you know what I mean?
Take your half, innit?
Take half. Oh, what? That's yours. Okay, kind of thing. As opposed to, because imagine you kind of working your arse off, grinding, grafting, saving, getting a house, meeting a partner, you get together, 5-6 years down the line, the worst thing happens, or just she just ups and leaves. I'm not happy. I want to leave. There's not much you can do. She's taking half.
Oh, so you're married and everything, and she's claiming that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and there's always, I mean, obviously not to say just not get in a situation for that, but there's always that risk.
Yeah.
And I've sort of seen it happen in the past to sort of family members, and it's like, things just get...
You was up here, and now you're down here,
yeah,
because of your relationship?
Yeah, and it
brings you back
happens.
down to earth. Wow.
It happens.
Yeah.
Is that sort of a worry for you, or you sort of...
No, because I'm with you about the whole partnership thing. Even if I have a property on the side, I don't know, I think I'll keep it and then buy a property with my partner. It sounds really bad.
Would you keep that one secret though?
No, I wouldn't keep it secret. Like, they'd be aware of it, but that would just be my money spinner over there.
So that's Anton's, and then if anything happens, they have no access, yeah?
Almost, yeah.
Because just even with that, my worry is just that the courts would be like, what's that? You know, they try
but
it.
It's more the sense of, okay, cool. I'd rather just have, because... Is it really complicated? I'm thinking about the timeline of it, of, babes, I think we should get a house together. Cool. You're going to have to sell your old place. Oh, man, but I worked so hard to get that place.
Yeah.
Like, I want to keep it. I bought it at such a cheap price. I want to rent it out. I've got deposit money. You've got deposit money. Let's just buy a new place, and then I'll keep that and rent it out. How does that sound? Like, just as a strategic point of view, that's
logically, that makes sense, yeah.
If I don't have the money, then yeah, cool, I'll sell it. We'll get a place together. But yeah, that whole 50-50 ownership is cool. And I think that's just like the most ideal way of getting a property.
I think it's the way forward.
Two people working hard, been saving for years, waiting for that moment. They got like 60 bags together because Yeah, they both had 30k each, and then they're like, should we just move to London? Yeah, it sounds alright. We've got 2 salaries. That means we can cover the mortgage. It sounds blessed. It sounds crisp. But you could have that in a friend capacity as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, definitely. Like, if you and your friends got a good relationship, want to get that money in, cool. Bring your twin.
Or even like siblings. Like, have you ever thought that maybe if your siblings,
I've considered
once
it.
they get to that stage,
I've asked them. I don't know if they're as on it, because like my sister recently got a house with her boyfriend, so they're actually doing their own thing. They're like,
you got more in the pipeline. You got what, 2 brothers, right?
I've got 2 younger brothers.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, you man,
come through.
come through. But obviously, they're like a lot younger, so they're not at a point where I'm at. I'm at a point where I'm like, alright, cool. This are the sort of moves that need to be made. Whereas they're a lot younger. They're more the kind of like want to party and play games. I'm just like, I can't make them do or feel the way I feel. But I have kind of like suggested it, and I've suggested it to friends, and some people are like, okay, yeah. But you need to make sure everyone's like on the same page and wants the same thing, and then alright, cool, make a move then. Get a house, sort it out, renovate it. Because I like the idea of like getting like a rundown house from an auction.
You like that idea? You've been watching too many Homes
on the Hammer. That's my show,
That's my
man.
show,
I'm like, what? Is that what he did?
I know, but the joke
15 weeks. Oi.
Yeah, but yours will be like, there's a timeline that we expect. It should be around 24 weeks, and it comes back to the yard a year later.
Oh, it's been 5 years. Basically, we run out of funds. The
planning
came
permission.
in.
It's the planning permission, right? The planning permission got rejected. Therefore, we had to change it into this and this and this.
And then blah blah blah.
Like, I like the idea of it, but I don't know if I want to be living in that space.
Because that's it could get messy.
It will get messy. Your health is everything, your stress levels, you can't run away from it. You got no electricity, no running water, boilers packed in, you're waiting on the guy to come. Like, it's just going to be painful. I'll do it as like a project, like,
Yeah, but
I've got my little safe place.
That. So a little project, get a little house somewhere, kind of strip it down, do like the basic stuff, painting, plastering, get a plumber in, get an electrician in. You're getting contacts as well, you're getting that experience. Flip it, pictures, and then it's like, yeah. No,
After tax, profit is like, what, 50k, and you're like, how did I do this? Get that little, that is like a desire of mine. I was writing out like my 10-year plan. I was like, have a property investment sort of like portfolio, and I just have a selection of houses. And it's like,
But with you, is it more like, so you've got your sort of flipping, you get a house, renovate it, just sell it, or are you more like get it, fix it, and then rent it? Because I like the idea of both, but more so rent.
Well, I don't know. It depends where I'm at in life. If I am planning to get a new place, say if got the wife, got the kids, and we're expecting twins or triplets, and I need to buy a new place, then if I'm going through that whole project cycle and I already got a place and I've got the potential to either flip it or to rent it, I probably will take that capital and just flip it.
Alright.
Give me that profit. Yeah, cool. We're gonna buy the nice 3-bed house for the triplets and the 2 other kids. But babes, that's we got 6-7 people in the house. I know. Just waiting for the next project.
We got this. Oh man, that's good. But I've been reading, and this is so random. So how everyone's kind of like, not everyone, but a lot of people are sort of struggling to get a deposit together. Doing a bit of reading, and I randomly found out, and this has been happening a lot recently, where people are literally raffling off their houses. I don't know if you sort of heard of it. I know I sent you like.
You sent me a link, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, someone's got a house. It's either they're really old, they want to kind of downsize, or they're struggling to afford the sort of mortgage. They raffle off tickets. So say £2 a ticket. They'll sell about 500,000 tickets.
I don't believe no one is selling 500,000 tickets.
So I've seen 1 or 2 that they've done it. One of them has done it. So like this guy sold it. It was like a manor, some random place. He was struggling to pay like the mortgage. Cool. He raffled off the tickets. So that was like what, £1 million. The mortgage was like 700 odd or whatever. Paid off the mortgage. Gave a bit to charity. Then this woman who literally bought about £20 worth of tickets won a house. Imagine you.
So what's in it for the person that sets up the whole raffle?
So for them it's. So for example, this is a true example. This guy was struggling to pay the mortgage with his family. He's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? He then raffles it off.
Yeah.
So he's now got £1 million.
Yeah.
500,000 tickets, whatever, £1 million. So then with that £1 million, he uses that to pay off the mortgage, pay off the house. So then he's now out of debt.
Yeah.
He's got about 200 odd K. He's now going to downsize or whatever, and then sells that house.
Man.
Yeah, but then obviously it's different. So then there's one where I've seen old people do it, where for them it's they really want to downsize, get a little bungalow for like 100 or 150k out in like Shropshire and random places, and they sell off the house, and then someone's just got a house that's worth 800, 900 or £1 million.
I don't know. Do you know when it's like too good to be true? Because like, why wouldn't you just sell it through estate agents?
A standard. I don't know. They've got their reasons. For some of them, like a few of the stories, some of them have said, I want to give the opportunity to a family or whatever. Everyone's obviously got their own agendas and reasons. I honestly don't know. But I've just been reading them and seen a lot of people are doing it a lot more. And I'm just like, wow.
The lottery.
It's crazy. It is crazy. The prospect of winning a house for like 20 or 30 pounds. But again, it's like it's like you said, it's the lottery. It's like your odds of winning are.
There's only one prize as well. There's no if you get five balls.
5 runners up. Like it's none of that. It's either you get it or you don't. And it's like, But it's just it is insane. But I think it's interesting how a lot of these sort of different options have kind of come up for people who are say struggling to kind of get that deposit or get enough of it. So you've got that raffling, you've got the help to buy where you kind of drop 5%. Government gives you sort of a 40% loan, which is free for the first 5 years. You've got the help to buy ISA. Lifetime ISA. What other options are there? There's the asset kind of sharing, so like you said, kind of where you get your mortgage kind of 25% and you kind of pay rent on the over 75. Then the bank of mum and dad has been quite a big one as well. A big one apparently. Like they're literally the 6th biggest lender.
Because a lot of parents remortgage their home to enable their kids to actually get their first property.
I love that.
Yeah,
but again, it's kind of like it's your child. You would expect that sort of thing.
And you got to be aware that things have changed because the property game, or in terms of the property market, it's just grown. It's ridiculous. So I don't have the bank of mum and dad. Like my mum doesn't even own her own place. She lives in a council house.
Same here.
So like everything's all on me. And I was speaking to my friend today, and I was just like, boy, in the future, I have my place, I have my kids' place, like just in the background working for their future. I was like, I have to buy my mum a place. And in that same breath, I was like, oh shit,
pressure.
Things got tough. Hey, why is the room spinning?
Anton, I'm here. Don't walk into the light. But no, I'm definitely sort of with you there. So with me, I live with one of my workmates, and him and his girlfriend, recent fiance, they obviously sort of mortgaged their house, and we were kind of speaking, and then I kind of found out that they both got inheritances.
Yeah.
But they both got lump sums.
Mad.
I don't know the exact amounts, but it was I think both of them, each of their grandparents, under about 40k, and then they've told me that their other grandparents are going to give them a bit more later on. And I'm just like, so you just told me that one day you just woke up, you both just had 80k there, deposit sorted.
Let's not forget about the emotional trauma that they went through by losing their grandparents, right?
He didn't sound like he cared.
I lost my granddad, I lost my grandma. No, I'm honest, like, well, ka-ching, you woke up one morning, granddad's dead, he's got 80 bags in the bank.
Because when I spoke to him, no word of a lie, my man was like, oh, well, eventually when my other one goes, and I'm like, yo, this guy should be in,
plotted.
What's that thing? What's that show? Game of Thrones. Like, he sounds like he'd fit, and I'm like, yo! He was just way too happy, but for me it's a reality, because a lot of people I work with, who are younger than me, 21, 22, are getting houses. I'm just like,
how?
I've been working here a bit longer. Then it's like, yeah, well, my mum gave me 50k, you know how it is. I'm like, no, I really don't. Like,
that's the difference, isn't it?
But in that sort of situation, do you think they appreciate the house as much as someone like myself and you who are working and saving? Because it's your first house, the passion is there, but you haven't worked for that money.
I think they have worked up to that point.
Have they though?
I think
like
it depends when it comes, isn't it? If you're already grinding and you're saving and you're planning to get a house in, and unfortunately, maybe because you put the juju out there and you wish that someone died in your family so you could get inheritance, and it just came and it happened, then you might value it even more. Be like, oh my gosh, I'm truly upset, but I'm grateful because it's enabled me. If you're just living life and you're just like, YOLO, living life, cool, and then next minute,
yeah, mum and dad are like, boom,
and Clive, I think it's time you buy a house, and here's 50 bags. They're not going to say 50, but there's 50 grand.
Yeah, £50,000. It's just,
take care.
Yeah, obviously happy for them, but I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah, I think some people will. some people won't. It's just how do you see money and do you respect what your parents have done to get you to where you are today?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a combination of things. But properties just, I like the idea a bit. Like I said, homes under the hammer. That's my show. And I get gas. I'm just like, ooh, like my uncle been telling me for time. It's like, get a place. I always say I was like saving up since uni. So by the time I came out of uni, I had not a lot, but I had maybe 12k saved up. I was like, okay, cool. From that point, if I add another 7 or 8, then I can actually start getting on this property game. I was just like, and I realised that London wasn't the right place for me. I was like, boy, I'm not going to do this in London because Help to Buy wasn't there.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah.
At the time, and then even in a true grand scheme now, that 5%, that's nothing. Like your whole loan is 95%.
It's just a lot.
That is a lot.
It is just getting me upset.
But do you know what the difference is? I think it's my mindset as well. If I was down to work for the rest of my life, like I found a career that I love, and I'm definitely I'm with someone that I feel like I'm gonna be with for the rest of my life, and I'm gonna live that normal, have the family, have the family car in the front, go to school, pick up the kids, work my 9 to 5, be happy with the mortgage for the next 30 years because I don't know any different. That's calm. But unfortunately, I think differently. I'm like, nah, I don't want to be tied down to a mortgage. Are you crazy?
It's just no.
Are you crazy? I'm not even sure that my job will be around in like 5 years because there might be a cut, there might be
technology
impacts.
that takes over.
Oh, technology, cybersecurity, nah.
Yeah,
but
okay.
But in terms of like the impacts of Brexit, like even a day after, I was speaking to someone and they were saying that their company lost, I think they lost like £10 million in one day. A ridiculous amount, and they had to cut 150 like staff members all in one day. You don't know what's going to come around the corner, so you're not even guaranteed that you're going to stay in a job. And then also for me, because like the passion for the job wasn't there, I was just like, I'm not going to commit yet.
Yeah,
I'm not about that life yet. But ideally,
scary.
What would be, that whole step into estate agents and be like, oh, property on 64 Zoom Lane, the one that's going for 600k. Has anyone put an offer on that? No, they haven't. Okay, cool. Can I pay cash? Do you do cash? Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't put it all down on cash. But I would love to have that large amount of capital just to reduce the mortgage
like
repayment.
40-50%, if not all.
Yeah.
That for me has always been, I don't want to say a dream because it is something I'm trying to kind of make happen. It is going to be like long-winded, whether I achieve it or not, different story. But like you said, I've had that dream of just going in and be like, yeah, number 51. They're like, yeah, you need your mortgage and principal. I'm like,
Denzel Washington.
I'm paying cash, man. Really, sir? Come through. Just imagine being in that position, just paying cash for a house, not having to worry about that mortgage. Just you're powerful. Then that kind of eliminates that kind of being tied down element. You can then sort of move around different cities, different countries, rent it out. You're nice.
Yeah.
But you know what? One thing that does worry me. Do you believe that there is a bubble, property-wise? Is there a bubble? A lot of people say that just in terms of pricing being sort of overinflated. So like again, outside of London, average price range from about 120, not even 80 to about let's say 260. Whereas in London, you're looking at about, like you said, 400 to 600k. There's a kind of clear disparity. Do you believe that there is a bubble in general and more so in London? Because with 07, 08, 09, there was that kind of recorrection. Things kind of went out, went down. People lost houses.
People panicked as opposed to anything.
They always panic.
Is there a bubble? There's going to be booms and busts. There's going to be moments where it's going to be like housing property is going to be thriving, it's going to be growing, and at the same time, there's going to be moments where it just takes a little tumble, and you've got to know when to buy and when to sell, sort of thing. Yeah. It's like anything. It's like stocks and shares, if anything. Like
buy low, sell high.
Yeah, and this is what some people did. They was like, oh shit, everyone's panicking, everyone's taking their money out of the stock market, everyone's panicking, selling off their homes and all this sort of stuff. People capitalise on that. People
were to buy.
Oh, cool. I know I ain't gonna have too much money in the bank, and also there's that uncertainty of will my jobs, will I still get my salary from my job? But it's almost like the risk. Sometimes I think it's a risky game. Like even getting a property now,
It really is.
it is a risky game. The London bubble, I think it's always going to be that way because London is the capital city. If you look at the stats, London in terms of the number of people actually living there and the number of properties available, you know, there's not enough homes for people.
Yeah, it's that one.
You know, in terms of like population density, when you look at certain areas and you look at the high blocks, high rise blocks and everything like that, like that was the whole thing like back in the 70s, just simply because it was like, shit, we've got so much people here. How can we cater for it? We can't go out across, we have to go upwards.
Yeah, I mean.
And you start to see them being knocked down, but what you see is the nice little apartments, and then also what you see is a difference between like a high street where one side you got the nice little 1 million, 1.2 million pound pad, and on the other side you still got the council estate.
Yeah.
And that's when everyone talks about like the whole, you've got it in your
Literally
area.
my situation, yeah. So currently it's like you've got this kind of old estate, high-rise flats, just all over the place, drama, police, and then literally just across the road you've got these new amazing kind of apartment complexes going for like £300,000. They're all half gone. It's not even built yet, and it's like
That's what people are signing up still.
It's just this whole gentrification. Like every time I kind of go back to London, it used to be kind of like these jerk chicken shops, Nigerian restaurants, and now I'm seeing Costa.
Yeah.
Like it's leveling up. When you see a Costa and a Starbucks, you know it's
Everyone
cafes.
uses the same example. Like you got Brixton, you got Peckham, you got even Stratford in some essence. Like the whole London 2012 Olympics changed that area. Even Shoreditch, like people were like, do you remember Shoreditch back in the day? Like Hackney and that. It's like, nah, everything changed. And obviously people have issues with it. And it pushes people who can't afford further out.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same in most cities. Like when you go into certain countries and you look at the capital, the kind of area within like the centre is always going to be the kind of affluence or area, and the outskirts are going to be
the bummy kind of like no one's going to go there parts. Do you think that's the way it should be though?
I can't control it. You know, like should it be that way? Should everyone have equal amounts in their pocket and have all the same homes? Yeah, but unfortunately,
hard knock life.
Unfortunately, it don't work that way. But so you're on the whole roadmap of getting a house. In terms of handling the whole uncertainty and then the fear side of it, like what are you doing? Are you just like committing to it? You're saying screw it.
My plan, or sort of rough idea is. Number one, not to kind of go for a house that's £600,000, not because I don't want it, but for me it's about being sort of realistic price-wise. It's staying within your means. So again, taking it back to Rich Dad Poor Dad is, if I wanted, I could afford like an A-class or whatever, but do I really want to waste £20,000 on that? And it's sort of the same concept of the house. It's, I can afford to pay, say, £1,200 for the mortgage, but why not get a house where I'm paying £400, £300? Get that kind of amount reduced, because again, bringing it back, a lot of people forget to include the council tax, bills, internet. That all adds up on top of that. So it's looking at that, and then for me, it's getting the sort of financing right. So I want to be able to save the rent I'm paying each month. So for example, say I'm paying £400 for rent, bills, council tax. I want to save £400 as well. So that means after about 2 years, I've got 2 years worth of expenses covered. So worst case scenario, I lose my job or interest rates increase or whatever, I'm in a position to kind of look after myself for about 2 years. Obviously, I don't want to be unemployed and not bring an income for 2 years, but there's that kind of security there. And again, taking the sort of, if I had say, I don't know, £50,000 on a house that's 600k, it's not even 10%. On a house that's like 100k, that's literally half. So I know that.
What house can you buy that's 100k, fam?
But this is sort of like looking out of nowhere. So
out of nowhere.
I've seen a lot in like Manchester for like 80, 90, 100. And they're not the nicest of houses, but then that kind of goes to kind of like stripping it down, fixing it up. And again, because they're not hot like London houses, there's that chance of being able to like haggle it down. Oh, it's 100. We'll give you 90, 95. What are you saying? So then reducing it again. So then that 50k, which wasn't even 10% in London, is like a 50%.
That's crazy.
Like,
but that's the whole thing. It's all location.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm willing to just move to another city just based on the pricing of it. Like, I think I'll just, because aside from that, you need to make sure that you're happy where you are. Sort of thing. A lot of people say, "Oh, London's the place," but obviously you have to branch out and you have to find out different areas. Yeah,
commuter sort of towns as well are kind of getting hot. So like for Bristol, Newport is kind of like the new sort of go-to town, and they're kind of getting rid of the toll charges as well. So a lot
have
of
you
people
been there?
kind of like, I have not. I think we drove past, didn't we?
Not for me. No? For me. No.
Well, wasteland.
No, to be honest, it's like I guess I'm used to just having like things kind of close by. Like if I want to go bowling, it's just down the road. Like, and then out there, it's like hello. Like, I went at a coffee shop that closed at 5:30. I was like, what?
PM.
Yeah. Like I'm used to like us going Starbucks or somewhere.
Like 10,
not even that late, but like 8. They're looking at us like, yo, you guys gonna leave? Like if you did that somewhere else. But there's something that you said that I want to bring up. I can't remember what it was. Bugger, it's gone.
Oh man.
It's gone. No. Gonna get the property. You're cool with being tied with a mortgage?
So it's sort of like I guess, because it's another way I look at it is 20, 25 years, I believe, or I hope to still be alive. And it's like, I don't like the idea of just renting, paying someone else's mortgage, and after 25 years, it's like, don't really have anything to show for it. So taking out a mortgage is sort of like a better alternative.
But I guess it's all dependent on where you are, because if you're still kind of undecided in terms of where your life is going to go, then rent all the way. That's what I believe. Because the moment you tie yourself down, that means you're limiting yourself from any sort of opportunity that's come about.
To a certain degree, I think some people use that as an excuse because you can port a mortgage. It is long to move a house once you've mortgaged it, but that option is still there. But I think it's about knowing.
Up in and leave. Like, say if someone goes, can't we just go travelling? You can't just do that if you go to a place.
They would need to, again, so this is because I know someone at work, Lasky, who's actually done this. Well, not for like ever. So like he's got a house, he's rented it with him and his boys. He was like, I'm going travelling for like 6 months, I'm leaving my job. He rented his room out as well. Yeah. So he's got all these boys he trusts, they're all like paying the mortgage. Yeah. He then goes off to like the Galatian island, I don't know, Gallippian, some next island, some tropical island, like some David Attenborough place. Apparently he got back yesterday and he's like lost a lot of weight. So he's kind of like done it. Because like I was under that impression of you can't just leave. Like you got to pay it.
You got to know the finances behind it. Like when they talk about, so I'm going to talk about the rental yield. Like if you're going to do the whole aspect of buying a place, you got to make sure that whoever comes in to rent out the place is covering your mortgage.
100%. Yeah,
but you're not always guaranteed that, because obviously you need to think about the capital that you put in the initial deposit and your mortgage rate.
Yeah.
And then also when you're going to put in the factor of like the interest rate went up, was it last week?
Yeah.
What impact is that going to have? Like it's not straightforward like that.
Yeah, I know, but that's the thing. That's where, again, it depends on who's doing it. That's where kind of like locking in comes in. So I like the idea of the stability of locking in at 5-10 years, especially now when interest rates are at their lowest. It's locking in at 0.99, which is mad. Having that locked in for 10 years, I know it's not going to go lower than that. So I know that for the next 10 years, what I pay for my mortgage will be the same. I've got that stability. You're 100% right. If you're on like a 2-year fixed or like a tracker, then you don't really know what's going to happen after those 2 years. Or with a tracker, it's like, you're just not in a good position because it's gone up already. It's gone up.
What, my mortgage repayment's gone up by £400 a month, and that's real. Like
that's the thing. Like no, it's like because I'm just like, this is people's reality. Like you've been paying this for 20 years. You got 5 years left. You got 1 year left, and like the last year, your thing goes up by like $1,000. You're like, what's going on? And it happens, and I'm just like, it is hard. That's why I was kind of saying you want to make sure the mortgage payment overall is as low as possible. You want to make sure you've got enough disposable income there and savings in case it happens.
But how about if you can't? How about if you've literally just got enough to save and literally enough to mortgage? Are you saying that don't go for the house? Or
I honestly, again, I don't even have all the answers. But again, for me, like, because me and my mate were talking about this because he's looking to kind of move and get a place soon, and then we were like, back in like mid-90s, late 80s, things were like 15-17%. Fair enough, things were a lot cheaper then, and obviously money isn't as powerful as it is now, but imagine paying 15%. What? And it's going to be more impactful because now things are, again, like I said, at their lowest. Most people are paying 1 to 4%. So imagine going from that to 17. It was better back then because it went from 17 down, but going from like 1 to 15.
Mad.
That's just that's
Get that repayment in every year. Here's
overpaid.
Overpaid.
Yeah, and interestingly, I went to sort of this seminar. It was like a sort of a Black History Month thing. This was earlier this year. It wasn't a Black History, but just about Black History. Then they had this.
Not about Black History, but Black History. Cool.
It wasn't in Black History Month, but it was
okay,
about
cool.
kind of so it was like back in April, and then there was this guy, Daryl Harper. I mentioned to you once, like, and this guy just did this amazing speech on sort of finance. I was a bit worried he'll try and sell us something, but he didn't, luckily.
But wait, there's more.
There's more, $9.99. He was kind of speaking about having to sort of pay his parents' mortgage at 18 and how he was like the main breadwinner. But he kind of spoke about paying the mortgage and that if you can, or you should, that you should pay it weekly. It was like banks will tell you that it's paid monthly, but there is the option to pay it weekly, because obviously with weekly you've got the extra 2 weeks or whatever it was, and then you're making more payments, and then overall you're paying a lot less over the years, which is why the banks don't really tell you about it. So I think that should be like commonplace, especially with overpayments. If you know the
bank's got to make money, innit?
Yeah, they have to, but you got to protect yourself in some way.
Yeah.
If you know it's 400, why not pay 450 or 500, or even if it's just 410? That's 120 more than you paid last year. That's going to kind of save you like little pennies, which adds up to the pounds. It's about thinking about all those aspects, and then obviously you mentioned like the potential to kind of rent a room or order rooms out. There's a prospect. So I'm thinking of kind of like getting a place at some point, renting it out for maybe a year, each room, and then obviously kind of moving in. So then with me renting it out, I've got enough people to kind of pay the mortgage, and then I'm getting a little bit extra as well, just to kind of save on the side for those rainy days.
Yeah.
So it's just taking it all in and just like, you just got to fact this.
You got to do your numbers.
It is a lot.
Definitely have to do your numbers.
And with the numbers, I think for me one of the worries was obviously because a lot of landlords were kind of getting places, they brought in new rules to kind of like scare people away, I guess. And I guess the tax situation has changed on buy-to-lets. So I think that for me was also been a worry, because like interest rates are naturally a lot higher anyway. You need a higher deposit, but then the way they sort of tax you is a lot different now. So I think before it was just on net. So say your mortgage was for the year was about 10 grand, and you were taking in 12, they just tax you on the 2 grand net you're taking. But now they're taxing you on the entire 12. So it's just like a different game.
Tax man needs to eat.
It's just a lot harder. So again, a lot of people are just kind of finding like different loopholes. So some people are kind of buying it through companies or getting houses on the shops.
Well, they say like if you're buying a property with someone else, it's set up through a business as opposed as your own sort of. Because it has an impact on your credit history, innit? Yeah. So if you've got bad credit history and you come over and we buy a place together, it impacts mine. Yeah. So go and set up a business like a limited company just to override that, overrule that. Property game.
Yeah, property paralysis. It's an interesting one. I think what I want to know is if you're on the ladder, if you found it difficult, if you found it easy, if you got that 80 bag, holler me. Sort of let us know how you find this sort of like buying process. That's something that I definitely sort of want to know. Any sort of hints and tips you kind of found for saving the money, because I think that's actually quite a big aspect as well. If you kind of have a place in London or outside London, and why you chose to mortgage or why you're choosing not to mortgage, I think that would be quite interesting to hear. Yeah, because
I want to hear about the people who just decide that they're just going to rent for the rest of their life.
Yeah, because they've obviously got like reasons as well. There's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it at all. But,
brilliant. That is us for another episode. Thank you for joining us and have a good one. Bye.